ICCC to investigate Laga Industries Acquisition. Moresby Governor warns shop owners against selling counterfeit products. And Bishop says churches must be involved in national decision-making.
This is National EMTV News with Morobe Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Wednesday's news. The country's competition watchdog has announced that it will investigate the recent acquisition of Laga Industries by Paradise Company. Independent Consumer Competition Commission CEO Paulus Ain made this known today when providing the ICCC's view on the acquisition announcement earlier this week. According to the ICCC, parties in the deal had not consulted them prior to the announcement, which he said raised concerns.
The ICCC today addressed the media following the announcement of the acquisition of Laga Industries Limited by Paradise Company, a deal which saw Paradise Company acquire Laga Industries from Steamship's group of companies for an undisclosed amount. According to ICCC Commissioner and CEO Paulus Ain, the competition watchdog was disappointed at learning of this deal through the media, as neither of the companies had approached the ICCC prior to this deal being announced. According to the ICCC, under the current legislation, companies are not obliged to seek advice from ICCC prior to mergers or acquisitions. However, in this case, there were concerns as both companies were within the same industry, the food and beverage industry. According to Mr. Ain, this also raises questions on the conduct of large companies and corporations in regards to mergers and acquisitions.
These two are very good and big business in this country at the moment. And for them not to come to ICCC, in our view, is unfair.
As a result, the ICCC has announced that it will be investigating this acquisition with the aim to ascertain if there are any aspects of the deal that may be anti-competitive in nature, with relevant penalties to be imposed.
The ICCC will now be investigating this acquisition. And if we feel that this acquisition has the likely effects of substantially lessening competition, we will not hesitate to take court actions against this acquisition.
Companies, if they are competing or they provide services that, as Commissioner stated, overlap, then it's better for them to come forward.
Whilst at present, the ICCC Act does not make it mandatory for companies to seek advice from ICCC for mergers and acquisitions, the ICCC is now working to ensure necessary amendments to change this, with the amendment set to go before Parliament.
For those ones that we are investigating now, we can always investigate and take actions if we feel that the likelihood of substantial lessening of competition is.
The proposed amendment to the ICCC Act, especially Section 60, Section 81 and 82, where it says voluntary. We are now amending this provision to make it mandatory for whole business like the Laga and the Paradise to come to ICCC. The process of consultation and the government vetting process have all been concluded, and it's now ready for Parliament to have the relevant provisions amended.
Moresby Governor Ginson Saunu has ordered all foreign-owned shops in the province to stop selling counterfeit products. This came after members of the public in Leh raised their concerns about fake bilums woven in factories in China being sold at several Asian shops in the city. The provincial government will meet with the respective authorities to end this issue of concern.
The Moresby governor was clearly unhappy about how the bilum is being copied, mass-produced in China and imported into PNG.
So I will not allow.
Speaking to EMTV yesterday, he said these counterfeit products will destroy the small businesses owned by Papua New Guineans.
Leave this to our local people. Only a bilum long selling. Let little people in the bush, they cannot manage to run a trade store, or they have no money to run a trade store or build a big factory like Chinese do. These little things like this, leave it for the little people. So I will not allow this, and it's good that you bring it to my attention, so we will have to find out how these things happen, and through the normal system we will stop them.
In 2014, Papua New Guinean women criticized the authorities in the country for allowing foreign companies to import PNG's Mary blouses, which were being made in China and sold in PNG.
You are a thief.
On Monday, residents of Lae raised concerns over fake bilums woven in factories in China and are currently sold at various foreign-owned shops in town.
I'm will bilum. That's also working tulip or repa or. And before yet, Mama, God give me this school name start working. Why by me play borrow him kalsana? This place supposed me salim. And me by salim lo 30-40 kina. Which me mama slow buy him too. Na all mama blow me all some benefit lo this place.
I have to go through the established system to get this sorted out and put to a stop once and for all.
While the governor for Morobe will meet with the authorities to solve this issue, he ordered the foreign-owned shops to stop selling the fake products as of today.
These kind of string bags should be sold by Papua New Guineans and Morobeans and not any other person other than Morobean citizen. So if you are still selling these, if you are a restaurant owner or if you are a foreigner and you are selling this kind of fake bilums, then you better stop.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
The Australian Broadcasting Corporation has been banned from entering Nauru to cover the Pacific Islands Forum. This comes following comments from the Nauru government that the ABC was biased in its reporting on the island nation. President of the Pacific Islands News Association, Cora No, has urged the government of Nauru and ABC to use the Pacific way to resolve the current misunderstanding between them. No said that if current media reports are indeed true about the ban imposed on ABC for the coverage of the PIF in Nauru, PINA is appealing for Nauru to rescind its decision. He said the meeting is the highest political gathering where our regional leaders as well as regional media look forward to attending every year, and it is where issues that directly impact on the lives of the people of the Pacific are discussed. The Pacific Islands Forum is scheduled to be held in Nauru in September. The recently introduced blockchain technology is beginning to gain traction and support from various organizations. Pacific Blockchain is one such group promoting its use, backed by 2 provincial governors and a number of key partners, including APEC.
Blockchain Pacific was launched yesterday. It is a Papua New Guinean-run initiative, an ambitious event set to take place later this year and aims to inform Papua New Guineans on the many uses and benefits of blockchain.
So everybody has got the rights to look at what's being done on a particular block, and that block is distributed among all the other computers. So everyone has the right to look at it, but to change it, everybody has to have the consensus. So it's more like a decentralized, it's like a democratic way of trying to change a record.
The concept of a technology that can support democracy has attracted support from provincial governments. NCD Governor Powers Pakop made the first move with an initial donation of 50,000 kina. Governor Pakop believes that technology like blockchain can become practical for the public sector.
Such technology will help cut down the red tape, cut down corruption, make efficiency much better, and business will grow.
Ora Governor Gary Juffa has also shown keen interest in the smart technology.
I'm excited about its potential for improving good governance, improving the management of our resources, and especially looking at how it can be used to protect our environment, our forests, our flora and fauna, and at the same time utilize it so that it can be a huge marketing platform that cuts out costs and the middleman syndrome.
He is also in support of the notion of a blockchain voting system.
If you can use blockchain technology to improve voting in such a way that it minimizes voting or electoral fraud, and improve voting in such a way whereby genuine leaders are elected into parliament, that's a huge plus.
But blockchain is relatively new to PNG. There is much to be learned about it before it can be used effectively. Pacific Blockchain aims to break that barrier. The 2-day convention in October is set to bring in experts from around the world and various big-name developers of blockchain technology from Europe and the Americas. Participants are expected to learn how blockchain can assist with fighting corruption, foreign exchange challenges in the Pacific, driving new business models, and the advantages of crypto investment. gold sponsor APAC will be facilitating the event in October at the International Convention Centre here in Port Moresby. Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
Today marked a very important day for Pacific Maritime Training College and Zhejiang International Maritime College of China, who launched a joint cooperation for maritime training in PNG and abroad. After the launching, 20 students of Pacific Maritime Training College were awarded certificates in their respective courses.
Pacific Maritime Training College is the only private maritime training institute in PNG which offers a complete training program specifically designed for mariners to advance from an ordinary seafarer to professionals working on board any vessel of unlimited tonnage trading in PNG waters. Offering basic seamanship courses for general purposes, deck and engine, abled seafarer courses, certificates of safety and security training, 21 students graduated today.
Now, general purpose is actually the beginning of the training that will be an ongoing training for the seafarers that we have just graduated in line with the officiating of the partnership program between Pacific Maritime and the Chinese government as well.
Member 4, Samurai Murua, who sponsored 3 students from his electorate to study at the Pacific Maritime Training College, says investing in human capital to produce professional captains and engineers that is of great demand internationally.
At the moment we have a badge, Samurai Murua badge. Well, I'd like to use that to help train my students. So after the training here, I can put them on the badge and they serve within my electorate. Not only the badge, but there are other smaller vessels that we purchase under DSIP. A couple of them out there. And I could put the students on there to serve our people.
Also taking place during the graduation was the unveiling of the commemorative joint venture plaque. The partnership between Pacific Maritime Training College and Zhejiang International Maritime Training College will see both colleges benefit by sharing its resources and human capital exchange, as well as provide other opportunities for exchange programs. Henry says in terms of employment, PNG is ready to produce world-class seafarers for big vessels as well as engineers and other areas in maritime industry.
Employment chances for the maritime sector is quite wide. The opportunities are good. There's more into shipping industry within the country that is a need for the country as well. And employment opportunity for the seafarers is high. They just need to get the proper training. The safety know-how of surviving at sea and especially on board, which will be the home for the duration of time they have.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
Shadow Attorney General Karenga Kua has applauded the committal court's quashing of the 3 charges against the Director of the Police Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate, Chief Superintendent Matthew Damaru. The court on Monday recalled and revoked warrants of arrests against Damaru relating to conspiracy to defeat justice, a warrant of arrest relating to lying, and a warrant of arrest relating to fabrication of evidence that were issued by the District Court on December the 15th last year. Mr. Kua, in a media release, said the hounding of police investigators over the years has gone on for far too long, with the government continuously manipulating state agencies and institutions to ensure it holds on to power in the country. Whilst acknowledging that Mr. Damaru has won his battle, Kua says the war against those like him who stand up to correct the wrongs of government is far from over. He commended Damaru and others like him who stand up to the constant intimidation by politicians and their agents and continue to carry out their duties against immense challenges and constraints. This is National EMTV News. We go for our first break, but stay tuned. We have more after these messages. Welcome back to the news. Rabaul's Catholic Archbishop Francisco Panfilo has called on the government to involve churches in its decision-making process. This comes as churches are striving to fill in voids left unattended to by the government, such as health and education. Archbishop Panfilo says churches are delivering beyond government expectations and should be given a much bigger say to make decisions as well.
The relationship between the churches, particularly the Catholic Church and the national government, is a mutual one. The church over the years are filling in the voids that the government failed to meet in terms of education, health and social services in most remote areas of the country. But this mutual relationship is now being questioned as the church sees itself as being left out in most of the decision-making process. Rabaul's Catholic Archbishop Francisco Panfilo has pleaded to the government to grant churches the power to make decisions in areas where it contributes to its developments.
We wanted to review our partnership agreement with the government as far as education is concerned.
In recent years, the government continued to strive to deliver its promises based on its national policies, but most of them turned out to achieve unsatisfactory results. Numerous attempts to convince the national government to give a say to the churches have achieved poor results.
There were attempts from the part of the Catholic Church to review this partnership with the government, and nothing much happened.
Numerous controversies that have surfaced in recent years, particularly the deportation of Douglas Tennant last year by the PNG Immigration, have prompted the church to question its closest development partner. A 4-day education convention currently held in Kokopo will put forward this issue to discuss, but for now the church will continue to deliver based on pastoral principles, a goodwill from the church to the people and not a direct order from the government, the Archbishop says. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Board members of the Kerma General Hospital have expressed concerns about infrastructure development and health service delivery in remote parts of Gulf Province. Lack of human resource, supplies and maintenance at health centers in these remote areas is causing staff at the hospital to work beyond their capacity.
Health service delivery in remote parts of the Gulf Province is near to non-existent. Health, human resources and medical supply flows are a persistent problem. People seeking medical services from all over the province have been turning up in numbers to the Kerma General Hospital every day.
In the west, we have Baimuru Health Center run by the government health facility. And then Kapuna Hospital, that's run by the mission. Currently, Kapuna is also taking care of Kikori Health Center. The services are non-existent and not there. Except those run by the churches, they are doing a little bit better than the government run. Kapuna is doing a little bit better than, but in terms of infrastructure, they need some help from the government.
CEO Moses Uvaipi says Kerma General Hospital is a referral hospital and an outpatient clinic isn't part of the service of the hospital, but a service that should be provided by an urban clinic or rural aid post.
Referral hospital. We're not supposed to take outpatients. That should be provided down there, out there in town, where they have a urban clinic, so they can attend to the children and other minor cases out there, and only emergency they refer to the hospital.
Specialist surgeon Dr. Chris Mungua says supplies purchased for the outpatient clinic are costing the hospital more in funding.
We spend most of our money on consumables like drugs, amoxicillin or Panadol or painkillers, and also lab tests. The value in a month goes up to at least 60,000. 60,000 for all those lab consumables and 60,000 for the drugs. And not to mention the X-ray as well. And we are providing that care, and we are not providing the specialty care, like even when I compare my consumables, my equipments to work as a surgeon, compared to these daily consumables are worth more than the quotations that I'm giving for my consumables, specialist consumables. That goes to show that we are providing for the entire province for primary health care, and we are not providing for the critically ill, which is the hospital function.
The hospital's concern lies around the fact that they are a referral hospital and need to focus on emergency cases. The workload with outpatient care has been overloading staff.
Basic things like sick with fever and malaria or pneumonia, we are not supposed to be treating those. As a hospital, we are supposed to be providing things that aid posts can cater for or health centers can cater for.
Health consumers travel long distances to get to the nearest aid post, and for those that can't find healthcare in remote areas, they travel into town. While the hospital is happy to help those in need, they are appealing to the provincial government to look into the setup of an urban clinic within the town and assist the hospital in ensuring that rural aid posts are functioning well for the sake of the people of the Gulf Province. Helen Sea, National EMTV News.
Today, Community Development Minister Soroi Ewe presented a cheque of 42,000 kina to the Kapuna Community Health Workers Training School. It's a church-based organization operating in the district with no previous assistance from the provincial or local level government.
Kapuna Community Health Workers Training School received a cheque of 42,000 kina from the Kikori District Development Authority. Presenting the cheque, Chairman of Kikori District Development Authority and Community Development Minister Soroi Ewe said they have recognized the tireless efforts of the Kapuna Health Service staff.
Organization that has over the last 60-odd years contributed to the health welfare as well as educational welfare of our people for a very long time. And they have struggled for a very long time over that period of time. So we've decided that we should give back, in a way, lessen the burden that this school to these families and volunteers have carried for a very, very long time without proper government assistance.
Upon receiving the cheque, a Kapuna staff representative thanked the minister.
By Honorable Soroi in this case, is very much appreciated and is much needed for the continuation and the well-being of our students and training school in Kapuna. So on behalf of the Kapuna community and the management, I would like to express our gratitude, and we hope for a profitable and good relationship in the future.
The school caters for over 50 students every year. This donation will be of great help to the students to help with their tuition fees.
We're trying to train our community health workers up, and we see that many of the students from the Gulf Province, they struggle with their tuition fees. Many come from village backgrounds where there's hardly any funds, hardly any cash around, and we see during their enrollment and studies in Kapuna, they struggle to gather their tuition fees. So often that ends up in us having to release them, or in some cases we have to release them for some time and they look for funds elsewhere.
Lilian Soperakinea, National EMTV News.
A senior school inspector in Western Highlands province is happy about the reintroduction of the standard-based curriculum by the National Education Department. Basic Education Senior Inspector Esli Tikil told EMTV News that the old curriculum has produced top human resource in the country over the last 15 years. Western Highlands province has started introducing the old curriculum this week.
Tikil said the standard-based education or curriculum is ideal for developing country like PNG. It was developed by Papua New Guineans during colonial times. Mr. Tikil said the old curriculum has produced almost all the top bureaucrats and politicians in the country because it is objective-based.
I trust and believe that in the next 15 years, Mibla try to run him out, Mibla ground him, so Mibla ground him good. Next 15 years, next 20 years, all human resources in the country, they should be well developed.
10 years ago, a new system was introduced called the Outcome-Based Education or OBE. The difference between both curriculum is that standard-based has a standardized benchmark or cut-off mark for students throughout PNG. OBE is not standardized or does not have a benchmark for students. Students' education depends on their ability to carry on the next grade. Tikil said OBE curriculum was challenging for teachers and school inspectors to interpret it.
And we don't know, we don't have a benchmark for the country. So everybody is doing what they think is right and is appropriate, and the curriculum is there, but I become the master of the curriculum myself and teach my class according to what's there. And then, that's why it's like not standardized. So West New Britain is doing another thing. And
Tikil said OBE is for developed countries and it did not work well for PNG. There were a lot of criticisms from parents and stakeholders that their children did not learn well in class. This has prompted the national government to create a body headed by Father Yan Shuba to address this issue. Finally, they have reintroduced standard-based education.
If you look at the rest of the world, there were many changes that people are there to try to empower themselves to become better in what they can do for their own country.
Many provinces has embarked on this change recently. Western Highlands Education Division also launched its program on Monday at Tarangao Primary School. Teachers are on in-service for the program. The Provincial Education Board is planning to fully implement it in all the schools in the province by 2019. Vasanatha Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Public Employees Association has raised concerns over actions taken by the Department of Transport in penalizing employees of the National Weather Service who took part in an industrial action earlier this year over unpaid awards. PA President Robert Kutupai has taken issue with the termination of 3 NWS employees who were members of a working committee, as well as fines imposed on employees who took part in the strike action. In a statement, Mr. Kutupai has said that the penalties have polarized the workforce and is an abuse on human rights. He adds that the PEA has now activated its industrial machinery to seek redress for its members, with a request to the industrial registrar to hold a secret ballot to decide whether to withdraw the workforce at the National Weather Service. Furthermore, the union has said it is prepared to bring the issue to the attention of the Ombudsman Commission and the International Labour Organization. Cocoa farmers from the Lower Watut area in Morobe made 120,000 kina from processed cocoa bought for chocolate production. The cocoa delivered today will be used to produce the Queen Emma brand of chocolates.
The 2 truckloads of processed cocoa beans were brought in from Lower Watut this morning. This is the 4th time the Lower Watut Cooperative has brought their market to the Paradise Foods Limited. According to the cooperative chairman Nehaman David, the 240 bags they've produced is the largest they've done so far.
This farmer only much this market and give all the better price. This market and Paradise Food and give all good price than all local exporters here.
The process involved in growing, processing and transporting these cocoa beans from the Lower Watut area has not been easy.
Come up 40 mile come karna. You say big expense all farmer piling pen karimi come down.
Cocoa Board's Mamasa Regional Manager Anton Ningi said the volume produced shows the amount of hard work the farmers have put into growing and processing the crop.
That makes me feel happy about my training and the support. The other partners come together and me give him support all and me prove him and show him how hard they wanted to go about cocoa and go more.
Only 4 tons of cocoa are produced every year. Ideally, the Morobe province should be producing 20 tons of cocoa per year. But to do that, there needs to be up to 2 million cocoa trees planted. The challenge is now to maintain consistency in cocoa growing communities in the province.
We must be looking at capacity building to sustain, maintain the volume so that we continue consistently supply the market.
The cocoa beans that were brought in today were grown by several different cocoa growers in the area.
Only pulpulim is a requirement long cooperative society long Papua New Guinea. The way forward is cooperative society. Suppose 1 na 2 pama you not looking 1 kind something come up osem long. Lay now na golo end product.
These cocoa beans will be shipped to Port Moresby to produce PNG's Queen Emma chocolate brand. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
NAS Fund Contributors Savings and Loan Society Limited continues to create awareness about its services to existing members and non-member individuals. Today, the Marketing and Client Relations officers visited the Korean Embassy in Port Moresby to inform them of the various products and services offered by NCSL. The awareness is also done when NCSL staff market their various services to organizations and individuals to help them with queries they may have. This year alone, NCSL has so far visited 174 organizations in its awareness drive. On the edges of the Boroko Craft Market in the nation's capital are phone repairmen. These gentlemen have been providing quick, affordable phone repair services to the general public, ranging from cracked screens to very damaged phones, but they're in need of a proper market venue.
At almost all main markets in Port Moresby, you will find these phone repair guys. It's a small but growing business for many of these young men trying to make ends meet in the city. At the Boroko Craft Market, the idea of a phone repair service began when a few individuals like Zube Ahmed was engaged as a digital phone salesperson in 2007 when the telecommunication company first entered the PNG market. Zuba and a few boys found in the phone boxes spare parts of faulty phones and would play around in trying to fix the phones.
One way the other, Mibla Satoko say, Mibla giving service law, man Mary. Lily talent, Mibla, at least parts Mibla Nogat, Mibla Nasawarim Lobo is a 1M, but Miblas are trying best Blomibla finding. Even bar phone 1M, Miblas are collecting run, buy more. And then I fix him all line where he got problem the phone all carry me plus I fix him, give him all.
Today, this self-taught idea has been copied throughout the country in line with the growing demand for this service by ordinary Papua New Guineans.
Engine problem or phone. That is something no other phone in on upload. This time lewa plus dog problem and engine. Local also dog engine at this time engine. Phone stop now.
In a day, an average phone repair guy makes around 100 to 200 bucks, depending on the brand of the phone and if they have the right phone parts.
Samsung Galaxy S5 original. This is screen blame broke by cargo efficiency M600 kina. But all my give double yeah, sim 150, 200 this line.
It's also a fast, reliable service which many customers find affordable compared to other well-established phone repair shops.
As a customer, also make him life from me place. If you compare him one time all outsiders na inside local store you go and look him. And most price blow them go expensive na. Blow him outside all street makers also make him life easy.
Them working blow me nothing. Now me bringing 40 kina blow him come, me no got them charging me 50 kina that's all. Me got 40 kina that's all, now me bring him come blow him, now me give him.
This informal business has now been extended to a phone charging business where a customer can leave his or her phone battery to charge in exchange of a charged battery. They can pick up their phone battery later upon paying a 2 kina fee. Their only problem is battling with NCDC rangers and the police.
People believe us, power spark up, but still set him one location, where Bamila Sindana, fixing phone go through, and save him all. The rest of the other fellow Papua New Guineans.
They are now calling on NCD Governor Powers Pakop to revisit a proposal they had presented to him in 2014 at 14 Mile outside Port Moresby to provide them a venue to continue their vital service. Stacey Yallo, National EMTV News.
You're with Wednesday's News. We go for another break. When we come back, a quick look at stories making headlines overseas. Welcome back to Wednesday's News. Turning overseas now, we heard them desperately saying, eat, eat, eat. Now the young Thai football team trapped in a flooded cave have had their first meal in 10 days. Divers, including a doctor and a nurse, are with the boys, providing food and medical treatment as new images reveal how they are doing. Officials say they are in reasonable shape with no one in a serious condition. A phone line has been installed so they can talk to their families.
Introducing themselves to a captivated world. A day after being found and 11 days into their underground ordeal, Thailand's trapped footballers tell the camera, "I'm in good health," appearing skinny but in high spirits. Just outside the cave, the boys' mothers gathered to watch their sons. Today's pictures more precious proof of the boys' remarkable survival.
I am so glad he is still alive and safe. I am speechless.
7 divers, including a doctor and nurse, have now made it in, treating the boys and delivering supplies, including grilled pork and sticky rice. After 10 days without food, rebuilding their strength is critical as authorities plot their next move.
The kids are well in there. We don't need to hurry. We are now laying a telephone line so the parents will be able to talk to their kids.
Debate goes on over the best course of action. Preparations continue to be made for a rescue attempt this week. But it means training the boys who reportedly can't swim to scuba dive and navigate a maze of narrow passageways, some of which barely have room for equipment.
The minimum requirement to train someone just in the breathing apparatus would be 3 days.
Divers have been briefed on using full face masks. The boys have been practicing wearing masks and breathing. The slightest misstep could be fatal. But waiting too long risks rising flood levels. The group could be stranded for weeks, even months, cut off from supplies and communications until the rainy season passes.
It's a balancing act. They will obviously want to get them out as soon as possible, but they have to make sure that it is very, very safe to bring them out.
There are concerns about their mental health too. The time trapped in the pitch black, drawing parallels with the Chilean miners rescued in 2010.
Being scared is normal. We were really scared. We shed tears. Us being adult men, we cried.
More details are emerging about why the boys went into the cave. It's been reported they may have been taking part in a team initiation and that Thai police are investigating whether the coach should face criminal charges. His aunt amongst the waiting families.
I want to tell him that you did your best taking care of the boys. Please, don't be worried.
Preparations are being made for every eventuality. In the Chiang Rai hospital, beds sit ready and waiting. Everyone hoping it's an unnecessary precaution for the Thai Cave 13.
Searing heat in the western United States is fueling dozens of wildfires. Colorado is battling one of the worst blazes in the state's history, which has already destroyed more than 100 homes.
The firefight across the west right now intense, and firefighters say this fire activity is unusual so early in the fire season. In Northern California's Yolo County, 70,000 acres have burned in what's called the county fire.
The rates of spread were dangerous and they were explosive.
In Yolo County, firefighters have only a small amount of containment. Some residents are refusing to leave.
Making sure that when I wake up in the morning, if the house is on fire, that I know I did my best.
In eastern Utah, hundreds are evacuated as wind fans these flames. And in southern Colorado, the spring fire has burned almost 80,000 acres along with at least 104 homes.
Total devastation. It looked like Hiroshima had another A-bomb dropped on it.
Ellen and Larry Booth have lost just about everything.
I had a house full of antiques. I had my grandmother's stove. I had paintings that my mother painted in college that were 80 years old.
It's early in the fire season and already firefighters are exhausted. And unfortunately for firefighters here in the West, temperatures are only expected to go up. This week, California will bake with temperatures above 100 degrees, making for even more explosive conditions.
You're with Wednesday's News. We go for a break now. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To the Football World Cup now. It's one of the most well-known hoodoos in sports. England stands little to no chance when it comes down to penalties. It was England's first ever shootout win against Colombia to seal a quarter-final spot.
It had all the markings of a well-worn England script.
Quadrado takes and Mila scores!
A 93rd minute equaliser to let the win seemingly slip through their fingers. Then becoming the first team to fall behind in the penalty shootout.
Ospina got across and Colombia have advantage.
But for the third time in the round of 16, it gave the man between the sticks the chance to shine.
Pickford stops it! And England now reach out and touch it.
That save, coupled with Mateus Uribe's effort that clattered the crossbar, meant a simple enough equation for Eric Dyer. Score, and England finally conquer their penalty shootout demons.
And England win on penalties!
A new-look England doing just enough to make it through.
We stood tall and we was there when it mattered, and then obviously the penalty shootout we stepped up and incredibly proud of everyone.
In a highly charged encounter, 8 yellow cards were dished out, 6 to the men in yellow, as the game constantly threatened to boil over. So it wasn't a great surprise when the first goal of the game came from the penalty spot after Harry Kane was brought down in the box. Attempts by Colombian players to scuff up the pitch didn't seem to affect the England captain, who extended his lead as the tournament's golden boot with 6 goals.
Harry Kane is England's priceless gem!
While Colombia seemed to lack their usual firepower, with starman James Rodriguez looking on, Jordan Pickford was forced to produce a brilliant save in extra time. But from the resulting corner, Colombian defender Yerry Mina climbed highest to score his third headed goal from a corner in the last 3 games. While England fans buried their heads, Gareth Southgate was determined to show they were not the 3 Lions of old.
We knew it was a process we were in charge of, and the guys executed it brilliantly.
And in rewriting history, Jordan Pickford may have staked his claim for the other hand of God.
And Trukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To kickboxing now, world title holder Lee Henry Flash Garup has announced the staging of his world title defense on Saturday, August the 4th at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Sports Complex. Lee, who's looking to retain his world title belt, has 17 years of experience in kickboxing with 143 fights for 132 wins. He will be taking on one of Thailand's best in Uten Chanavan, who has 18 years experience with 211 fights, 145 wins.
WKBF Muay Thai World Title Defense on August 4th will see PNG's very own Muay Thai kickboxer Lee Flash Garup against Uten Chanavan of Thailand. Both fighters having similar exposure at the international stage. Lee, from his international fight over the past, has won 143 fights from 211 fights with 3 draws. Lee says while he doesn't know much about Utan, he says training has never been easy in preparations for the fight and is confident about defending and retaining his international title on home soil. Lee will defend his title in the 66.8 in the welterweight division and compete in 5 3-minute rounds and 2-minute breaks in between. On the day, 20 fights will occur in between before the main bout, where amateurs and national title holders will defend their titles. Lee will be accompanied on the day by his fellow fighters, some of whom have also trained and competed against Lee in the past. Tickets for the event will go on sale on 28th July and to be staged on Saturday, August 4th in Port Moresby at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Sports Complex. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. When we come back, I'll look at the weather for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the Momase region, rain and drizzle expected in Leh. Some showers and rain expected for Wau and Madang. Rain and showers, the order of the day for Wewak and Vanimo as well.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that has been the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday the 4th of July 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.